Hello, I'm Guy. I live in Shefford, in the province of Quebec in Canada. And the purpose of these videos is to probably better explain the, what I'm living through, which is the cancer, what we call the multiple myeloma. And I will try to explain to you and give you a little bit of history on what brought this diagnosis, if there is any symptoms, and also sort of how you feel about being diagnosed with a cancer. So I will start with explaining that I'm 47 years old. I'm married with 2 children, twins, by the way, a boy and a girl. And they will turn 18 in July of 2009. So what brought this diagnosis was back in the summer of 2007, a doctor discovered that I was suffering from anemia. Anemia is a condition where your red blood cells are lower than the normal. Normal being a count of 140 to 170 for a man in good health. My blood count was at 125, slightly under the bottom scale, if you will, but nothing extremely serious to feel a lot of side effects like being extremely tired and so on, because the red blood cells the red blood cells' purpose is to bring oxygen to your organs and your lungs and so on. So if you are anemic, you will feel tired and so on. And in my case, regular blood tests at the doctors just discovered that. And thank God for my doctor that she pushed the test to find out exactly what was going on. Being 47 years old, she recommended that I take a colonoscopy, which is basically a camera that they will insert through your, hair, so in order to find out if there is any bleeding or anything of tumors on your intestine. So all that area was checked out and it was fine, but it was a hospital and the health system that we have right now. It takes 3 months to get an appointment to the doctors and get the actual test, and then 1 month to get the results. So we're talking about 4 months from when we receive negative results, but everything was fine. So we're now almost in winter of 2007. Further testing was recommended as to go through what they call a gastroscopy, which is inserting again the camera in the tube into your mouth and to go see your stomach to see if you're suffering from any ulcers or any bleeding ulcers, because anemia can also be brought upon by basically a slight bleeding. It doesn't have to be a very high bleeding, but then you do lose your red blood cells that way. So again, 3 months to get to the hospital to get the famous test, and then 1 month to get the results. We're talking about basically spring of 2008 with the results negative. Besides having a slight inflammation on the esophagus, which is basically the tube above the stomach, caused by stomach, or what they call a gastric reflux, so which acid reflux. So it's basically from being the weight that I am, and then probably eating too late at night, and then probably a little bit of stress, especially with being a business person. We do tend to have a little more stress, having 2 teenagers living at home, going to school. That probably brings a lot of stress. But nothing that couldn't be handled, so treatment was given not for 2 months, and then with 2 months of treatment cleared basically this inflammation. The following test that was ordered basically was basically when you drink a certain liquid and you go for an X-ray. So we're talking about, again, 2 to 3 months to get to the X-rays and then the test, and came back inconclusive again with basically no negative problem. So if it's not a bleeding, if it's not a tumor in whatever, in your intestine or whichever, basically we're talking about something wrong with the production of the red blood cells. So that's where my doctor basically said that went as far as it could and sent me to specialists at the Mrs. Perkins Hospital in Cowansville for further testing. So the specialist there recommended to go with right away a biopsy of the bone marrow. So to try to see what is going on with the stem cells. Your stem cells being your cells fabricating your red, your white, and your yellow platelets that you have in your, which makes your blood coagulates, all live in the bone marrow. So that took about a month to get the first biopsy and about a month to get the result. And the result came inconclusive. Not because it didn't see anything, it's because it was not done properly. So the first biopsy not being done properly, I was switched to a different doctor too for a follow-up. The second doctor did not recommend to go with a biopsy right away, rather than maybe try some B12 vitamins to see if the supplement of B12 vitamins will sort of boost my red blood cells. That a month later came back negative, so that did not make any change. So basically I was getting to be about 120, 122, so not being critical again, but being low. So then the doctor recommended to retake the biopsy. During that biopsy, instead of just taking the fragments of the bone marrow, he also took what they call, he sucked some of the blood from the bone marrow so that we could see some stem cells as much as possible. So that result came back about a month later to him as with pretty well a diagnosis of monoclonal gammopathy. And what is that? Is essentially in our white blood cells we have immune system, and our immune system basically sends some cells out to fight against if you have an infection, if you have a disease or whatever. So your white blood cells develop what they call a protein, and that protein is what is actually the fighter against your antibodies. That being the case, is only one protein or one thing was actually wrong, where it peaked. Rather than having all the protein being sort of normally high when you're fighting something, only one protein was peaking. And it's usually a sign of gammopathy, that monoclonal gammopathy. And so the doctor basically with that diagnosis was telling me that I had a type of cancer that is called multiple myeloma. But the only way you can confirm a test like that is to be sent out to a hematologist, oncologist. And to my surprise, to be in that department for the first time in my life in oncology, it's not a rosy and a very fun department to be in. So after x-rays and after, again, one more biopsy and urine sample test and blood test and so on, the diagnosis of the multiple myeloma was confirmed. It is a rare cancer, and it's, I tell you, at 47 years old, very difficult to take as a diagnosis. I will try to explain to you a little bit more about what the multiple myeloma is in my next video, and what the treatments and so on, and what the solutions are to go through and fight this cancer. Hope you stay tuned. Thank you.
I pray you'll be alright. and watch us where we grow, and help us to